Strings, coils, and rigging.
So let me get this straight. You think just because you arranged my escape, that automatically means I'm going to trust you?
I think I've shown how I can be an asset for you and your colleagues. Surely we can come to some mutually beneficial arrangement.
Mutually beneficial. Why do I get the feeling this arrangement's gonna be more beneficial for you than it would be for us?
Captain Rigger raised a paw to his chest in mock pain, his white fur standing out in the dim lighting of the warehouse. A small group of his crew around the room listening in as he spoke. They'd all seen him negotiate before, and it always ended with the same results of their captain getting his way. The only difference being if the other party was willing partner, or needed some persuasion.
You wound me with such accusations. I've already freed you from the guards and presented you with information that could help you if any other incidents arise. That particular group of guards taking stolen loot for themselves, instead of returning it to their rightful owners, is such a misuse of power. Wouldn't you say so, Raga?
Oh, aye, sir. Such a disgrace to see among those who swore to protect the people here.
Absolutely. Imagine what other secrets they may be hiding. If a price is to be paid for silence, then surely a few quiet words are worth the price. A little bit of information can go a long way in the right hands.
Alright, shut up, you've made your point. So you can help keep the guards off us. And you've also let on you can help us with finding safe ships to smuggle things out of Karnag on. The question is, what do you want for it, and what happens if I say no?
Unknown to the pirates and thieves below, a dark shadow silently climbed through a high window and crept along the rafters of the warehouse roof. Looping Coil listened into the conversation below as his stealth spell cloaked his dark fur in shadows. Despite aid of the spell, he remained quiet and slow in his movements to avoid detection.
So Captain Rigger is in town, which explains the mysterious release of the halfling. I wonder if he seeks to profit from the smuggler's ring.
Unaware of the intruder above, Captain Rigger gave a sincere smile to the halfling before him. He raised his arms theatrically as he continued his negotiations.
What do I want? Well now, information like what I can provide has value, so it seems only fair that it has a price, no? As for what happens if you say no, I would bear you no ill will. You could walk free, and I would take no action against you. Although, without coin to pay for my crew, they may leave for better fortunes. What they would say and do would no longer be my concern if they let in information slip.
Snorts of laughter came from the Rigger's men as their captain closed his trap. Sylphina narrowed her eyes as she realised what she thought were negotiations was instead blackmail in disguise.
So this is why you had me released. Should have smelled the bullshit mutually beneficial my ass.
My dear friend, this is mutually beneficial. You still have your freedom, do you not? And I'll uphold my end of the bargain and provide information to smooth over any incidents. I'll have plenty of motivation to help you, given I'll have a substantial stake in your endeavours.
As the halfling continued to shout at the pirate, up above, a flicker of movement caught Looping's attention. He turned his head to look over the side of the warehouse beyond Captain Rigger, but saw nothing but storage and crates. He frowned, certain he saw something. Deciding that the halfling was just going to continue her rant for a while longer, Looping silently crept along the rafters to where he saw movement. As his position moved over to a stack of crates below, Looping froze as he saw loose strings crouched below them.
What on earth is she doing here? I don't see any valuables, and she doesn't strike me as someone who deals in information. So what? Rigger's enchanted blade.
Looping remained still as he tried to think. It was clear that Strings was a skilled thief, and against most pirates she could likely sneak by without issue given what he's seen of her. But Captain Rigger and his crew were not most pirates. As if to confirm this, the pirate Rigger referred to earlier on as Relcon turned his head sharply to the crates where Strings was hiding. She'd barely moved and not made any sound, but somehow he knew she was there.
Too fucking tabaxi, such an nightmare to deal with.
If I may interrupt, Captain, we may want to pause these negotiations for a moment,
And why would that be, Mr. Oaken?
because it seems we have some uninvited folks listening in these negotiations. Was Victile!
The crates that hid Strings from view were tipped aside as the large stone hand grew from the floor beneath them. Suddenly exposed to the room, Strings tried to run, but was too slow to avoid the stone limb. The hand grabbed the thief, pinning her arms as it held her still. Strings looks up at the pirates and gave an innocent smile.
You don't think this is cheating a little? If you wanted to hold my hand, you could have just asked.
Well now, what do we have here if it isn't the infamous Night Thief of Karnak? If what I've heard is true, and I know it is, the docks aren't your usual hunting grounds. What brings you to this fine establishment tonight, I wonder?
Well, I heard tell of fine company. The magnificent Captain Rigger and his mighty crew. What woman isn't drawn to such a dashing pirate as yourself?
Drawn to wealth, more likely. Which is fitting, since there's quite the set of bounties on you. We could take you to claim one of them. Or
The pirate turned away to face Sylphina, who'd stopped cursing him for the moment, though her glare still remained.
as you seemed a little upset at my proposal, how about I sweeten the deal by offering you our little visitor here? You could claim the bounty for your own. Would that help smooth things over?
That's not gonna change the fact that you're blackmailing me into this agreement. And do you really think the guards would just hand over the bounty to a group of smugglers, even if we did turn her over? Rather leave her sleeping with the fish in the harbor. At this point, I'd take great joy in drowning one of you goddamned cats.
Oh, come on now, that isn't necessary. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sure you could just hand me over to the guards.
Strings squirmed in the stone grip that held her as Sylphina's glare slowly morphed into an evil grin. Above them all, Looping watched as the situation unfolded. It was clear that if he did nothing, then Strings would be killed. As much as she was a thief, she was only a thief, and Looping didn't feel she deserved what Sylphina was planning. Still, there were several pirates and the smuggler to contend with. He couldn't fight them all. He wasn't eager to join Strings in seeing the harbour seabed.
The question isn't if, but what. I could easily knock out the mage, which would likely free Strings. The rest of the pirates won't stand idle, though. I need to be able to slow them down as we get away. We would only need a few moments.
His eyes searching across the room, Lupin's gaze settled on a stack of barrels below. Filled with fresh drinking water, each barrel held considerable weight, and a stack of them falling would be a hazard for anyone. Examining the scene, Lupin realised he was in luck. Only the pirate who cast the spell was next to Strings, the rest were behind where the barrels would roll. Moving as quickly as he dared, he set to work climbing down from the rafters unseen to put his plan in motion.
It seems a shame to waste a perfectly good bounty. But alas, if it placates you and settles our negotiation, then we can arrange for our friend to meet with Davy Jones.
I'd still rather it was you or the mangy furball that got me arrested, but fine, I'll settle for this one. At least something fun will come out of tonight.
No, sure, please, surely I'm worth more to you alive.
Not necessarily. Only one of the bounties calls for you alive. We both know the other.
Crash! Followed by the thunderous roar of falling barrels interrupted Rigger. A cascade of barrels fell in a tumultuous uproar as the pirates were cut off from their prey. Only Relcon remained by Strings, turning away to shield himself, to find Looping standing next to him with a strike ready.
Night-night!
Looping struck at Relcon's head with the pommel of his blade, causing the pirate to drop to his knees. As he fell, the stone hand restraining Strings quickly crumbled as she looked at Looping in astonishment.
What?
Enjoying the fine company. Now run!
Looping gave Strings a push towards the door as they ran to make their escape. The uproar caused by Looping's distraction was fading almost as fast as it came. Already, the pirates were recollecting themselves. It wouldn't be long before they gave chase after them.
Once we're outside, we should split up. You know how to stay hidden, so do so. I'll lose them.
A sudden force stopped Lupin in his tracks, silencing him. Despite immense effort, his muscles no longer moved as he commanded. Lupin tried to order his body to act, but to his horror, it wouldn't move.
The mage! How is he back on his feet already?
Lupin's thoughts were confirmed as Relgon grabbed him from behind, pressing a dagger to his throat.
You're gonna pay for that.
Lupin could only watch helplessly as Strings raced on to the door at the end of the warehouse. Opening the door, she turned back to face Lupin, eyes widening as she realised he'd been caught. With the other pirates hot on her heels, there was little else she could do. The thief cast a sad look back at Lupin, and then made her escape.
Thought you could arrest me and make me look like a fool. You're not looking so strong and mighty now, are you, cat?
The halfling glared at Lupin with evil intent, clearly enjoying his predicament. The tabaxi had been stripped of his weapons and cruelly tied to an anchor that was tipped over the edge of the boardwalk. Only a single length of rope was stopping the anchor from dropping into the water below, a length of rope that had a dagger pressed against it, ready to cut. Lupin made an effort to ignore the water and focus on how he could escape this grim fate.
Not really. I have to ask, though. I understand why you want to do this to me, but why Strings? Surely there are ways you could have claimed the bounty without revealing yourselves as thieves.
It's not worth the risk. Better to be rid of anyone who might reveal us or give us away. She could have sold us out to get her own deal.
But then why get rid of her at all? She's a thief. Probably one of your suppliers of stolen goods. Surely it wouldn't benefit you to kill her off.
Right, and how was I supposed to verify that? I told you before, Romero was the one who handled that side of things. Without him, I had no way of...
Are you going to kill him, or keep letting him play you for a fool?
What?
The longer you talk to him, the more chances he has of help coming. All the while, you're spilling your guts on everything you know. He's stalling.
You son of a fucking bitch!
I was really hoping you wouldn't catch on to that.
Fuck you!
Sylphina sliced through the rope with her dagger, causing the anchor to immediately fall back into the water below. Lupin drew in his breath just as the cold water of the harbour closed around him. He shuddered, almost releasing his breath as the cold sapped his body heat. He strained at the ropes binding him, desperately trying to free himself, but to no avail. The already tight bindings became tighter as the now soaked ropes constricted further. The anchor came to rest on the sea floor as Lupin began to panic. The water wasn't deep on this part of the harbour, but in his position, 20 feet may as well have been 200. Time was not on his side. Lungs burning, Lupin once again tried to pull his hands free, only to be surprised when he could suddenly move them. He felt a hand on his shoulder as the ropes around his torso and legs were cut away. Using the last of his strength, Lupin swam upwards, following the hand that still clutched at his shoulder. Lupin broke the surface and gasped for air, his tunnel vision receding as his lungs drew in fresh breath. Lupin felt a pour over his mouth, silencing him as loose strings held a finger to her lips. Below the boardwalk, they could still hear Sylphina and the pirates talking.
Okay, so you mean they're all gone? How do you manage to lose so much stuff so quickly?
I don't know. They're here, now they're not.
I think I know how. Don't underestimate the skill of our enemies, my dear friends. Some of them are as dangerous as we are. Now, may I suggest that we reconvene our negotiations elsewhere? We hardly look inconspicuous here.
Lupin and Strings remained still in the water as they listened to those above walk away. Minutes passed with only the gentle lapping of the seawater to be heard. Satisfied that the pirates had left, the two tabaxi climbed up on the boarding and took a moment to recover.
Well, this has been a fun night. Fine company indeed. Next time, maybe buy a girl a drink before you need her to come rescue you.
Where would the fun be in that? Don't forget, I saved you from being the one on the anchor.
That's true. I suppose this makes us even then.
Not quite.
What do you mean?
You still owe me a pouch of gold.
Touche. Well, I don't have a pouch of gold, but I do have something else.
Strings walked over to the far side of the boardwalk to a pile of barrels, Lifting the lid off one of them, she revealed all of Looping's gear that had been taken by the pirates.
It's no pile of gold, but I think you'll find this will suffice.
That it will. I suppose we are even then. Maybe next time we should try to avoid the life or death situation.
And miss out on all the fun? Where's your sense of adventure?
Looping grinned at Strings as he reached into the barrel. Strings watched as Looping began to dry himself off and re-equip his gear.
So, now what? Are you going to take me in or let me go again?
Well, let's see. You are a thief who is wanted. Taking you in would stop you from stealing from folks and put a few coins in my purse, which conveniently went missing after our last encounter.
Well, there is that, but...
But, being the skilled thief you are, you anticipated this. You may have cut me loose from the anchor, but left my hands and feet bound. If you escaped while I was working myself free here, well, no one's managed to track down the night thief yet.
String's eyes lit up as Looping grinned at her. She gave a smile of her own before blowing Looping a kiss, then turned away and walked into the night. Looping watched as Strings slowly faded from sight, taking a moment to enjoy the fact he was still alive after his near miss with death. Looking out over the harbour water, Looping smiled to himself.
Between myself, Strings and Rigger, I'm beginning to understand why folks around here aren't too fond of tabaxi. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and want to see more like it, then hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow me on Blue Sky and Twitch. If you all support these videos, then please check out the Ko-Fi memberships linked below. Become a Ko-Fi member to get early access to videos and sneak peek to upcoming stories.